All right, let's break down one of Europe's biggest names in fintech, N26. We're going to get into the anatomy of a digital bank and really the story of how you build a multi-billion-dollar company that lives entirely in your pocket.
It all starts right here with this simple, clean logo. Since way back in 2013, N26 has been a total trailblazer, completely rethinking what a bank should even be for the smartphone generation, which, of course, raises a huge question.
I mean, really think about that. How do you go from just an idea to a financial powerhouse with millions and millions of customers, all without a single physical branch? The journey is absolutely fascinating.
So, here's how we're going to tackle it. First, we'll look at what N26 actually offers you. Then, we'll follow the money and see how they actually stay in business. After that, we'll peek under the hood at the tech and the AI brain powering it all, trace their wild roller coaster of a growth story, and finally, ask what this all means for the future of banking.
Okay, so first up, what's the core experience here? What is it that makes millions of people choose an app over a traditional walk-in bank?
Well, N26 is really zeroed in on 4 key groups. You've got the digitally native crowd, the people who expect an app for literally everything. Then there are the travelers and folks living and working across Europe who need banking that just works, without borders. They also go hard after freelancers with special business accounts. And finally, they're for anyone who just wants to manage their entire financial life. We're talking spending, saving, investing, all from one single dashboard.
And that right there leads to their central idea. See, N26 doesn't just want to be your bank account. No way. It wants to be the one and only place you need to go for anything related to your money.
So what does a financial hub actually mean? It means that inside the very same app where you check your balance, you can also open savings accounts, trade stocks and ETFs, and yeah, even buy and sell crypto. It's all about total seamless integration.
So how does this whole financial hub thing turn into a business? I mean, if the basic account is free, how on earth does a multi-billion-dollar company make any money?
Well, their revenue is actually pretty diverse. The biggest piece of the pie comes from subscriptions to their premium plans. Then you have what's called interchange fees from every time you use your card. After that is interest income, and finally, they take small fees from all their investment and crypto products.
At its core, their strategy is freemium. It's a classic playbook. They pull you in with a really powerful, totally free standard account. But the real goal? That's to get you to upgrade to their paid plans like Smart or Metal, which come bundled with all these great perks like travel insurance or better investment deals.
And then there's the interchange fee. This is a tiny, almost invisible fee that MasterCard pays to N26 every single time you tap your card to buy a coffee or pay for groceries. Now, tiny fee might not sound like much, but when you have millions of customers making transactions every day, it adds up to a massive, massive revenue stream.
But listen, none of it is possible without the right technology. For a digital bank like N26, the tech stack isn't just some background detail. It's literally everything.
And N26's tech has gone through a huge evolution. They started, like a lot of startups, with a single monolith system. Think of it like one big block of code. But to really scale up, they had to break that down into over 60 independent microservices. This makes them way more agile and lets them update one part of the app without, breaking the whole thing. This focus on tech is especially true for security, where they lean heavily on AI. To manage risk for millions of users, they use these incredible self-learning models that analyze every transaction as it happens. This system can spot fraud and other sketchy activity way faster and more accurately than any human team possibly could. So if you take a quick peek under the hood, you see a really modern setup. They are totally cloud-first, mostly using Amazon Web Services. Their engineers are working with modern languages like Kotlin and Java, and they've been doing continuous deployment since 2017. That just means they can push updates and new features incredibly fast. And all this modern tech has fueled an absolutely dramatic growth story. I mean, it's a true roller coaster ride with some unbelievable highs and some pretty significant challenges.
The scale is just immense. N26 now has over 8 million customers spread across 24 different European markets. I mean, this is the kind of reach that traditional banks take decades, sometimes centuries to build.
Their timeline really shows this crazy acceleration. Getting a full German banking license back in 2016, that was a huge moment for building trust. By 2021, their valuation exploded to over $9 billion. But it wasn't a straight line up. They made a big strategic call to exit the super competitive US market in 2022 to double down on Europe, and that move helped them finally hit their first profitable quarter in 2024.
And that perfectly captures the two sides of their story. On the one hand, you have these massive funding rounds and a sky-high valuation, but on the other, you have the tough reality of a strategic retreat and constant pressure from Germany's financial regulator, BaFin.
But even with all the challenges, the amount of money flowing through their system is just staggering. A projected annual transaction volume of 140 billion euros for 2024? That shows you just how deeply integrated N26 has become in the European economy.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway? What does the N26 journey really tell us about where banking is headed?
It brings us to where N26 is right now, in a constant balancing act. Their strengths are undeniable: a powerful brand, a huge user base, and a cutting-edge tech stack. But those strengths are always being weighed against intense regulatory pressure and incredibly fierce competition, forcing them to walk this tightrope between growing fast and staying compliant.
So if you're going to remember one thing, it's this. N26 is definitive proof that a branchless, digital-only bank can reach a scale that truly rivals the old guard. But their story is also a powerful warning that the path to disrupting finance is absolutely paved with complicated and unavoidable regulatory hurdles.
And that leaves us with a final, big question for the entire industry. Are we watching the end of the whole move fast and break things era of fintech? As the rules get tougher and the market gets more crowded, is that initial rebellion evolving into something new, a more mature, more regulated, but maybe just as powerful, new phase of innovation?